the Making a Difference Award. 7 individuals who've made an impact as exemplary role models have been selected as Making a Difference Award recipients by the Alabama High School Athletic Association and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association. One winner from each of the AHSAA's 7 classifications was chosen from nominations submitted by the AHSAA member schools and other support organizations. The award was established in 2011 by the AHSAA and the AHSA-DCA, recognizing an individual in each of the AHSAA's 7 classifications who go beyond their normal duties as coach, teacher, or administrator to make a positive impact in their schools and communities.
In Class 1A, Kyle Garman, Galesville High School.
He just takes on whatever needs to be taken on. If there's something that needs to be done at the school, he doesn't say it's not my job. He doesn't look for somebody else to do it. He'll jump on the lawnmower. He will coach a different sport if he needs to. We've had instances where a coach didn't show up for a basketball game and he'd step in and coach that game, and just anything around the campus, in the classroom, wherever he needs to cover, he does.
He's taught us the work ethic, always working hard, pushing us for the greatness of each other, teamwork, leadership. He's making sure that we have everything we need to get into life as we prepare.
We always preach to our kids during ball games that, you never quit. We don't look at the scoreboard. Winning and losses isn't a big deal, but we treat sports like it's a job, and the game is our payday. So the only way we get paid at the end of the night, though, is if we played as hard as we could, or tried as hard as we could, or no matter what it might be. The proudest moment I've had as a coach is always something to do with seeing that kid successful after they get out of here. 3-4 years from now, you see them, graduate college, or come back, and I've got kids that are doctors and lawyers, and those are the ones you're proud of, or the ones that have a steady job and 2 kids at home, and those are the ones that make you feel good about what you did.
In Class 2A, Claiborne Campbell, Cold Springs High School.
He's got an infectious personality. He's so genuine and honest that our kids and as well as adults have been drawn to that. He's made difference in, we had a retirement ceremony for him a couple of weeks ago, and he had players that he coached 20 years ago attend the ceremony. A huge track meet down here a few years ago, and we was awarded first place, and he discovered an error in scoring, which another team actually legitimately beat us. He was the one that discovered the error and pointed it out, and the other team was awarded first place, and so it just it goes back to his character and integrity and honesty.
Well, my sophomore year I had an Achilles injury, and I wasn't able to run for the whole track season, and Coach Campbell kind of helped me through that. I was I don't want to say I got depressed, but I just kind of got down on myself in that time. As hard as somebody who's never been injured, and I scored for the team, scored well, and going from that to not being able to run at all, it was hard, and I didn't really know how to deal with it. And Coach Campbell always kind of, he would always pat me on the back and help me along the way and help me to be positive, and he was just always somebody that I could go to and talk to and help me feel better when I did feel down.
First got in coaching, a lot of it was the X's and O's and all that kind of stuff, and pretty soon I decided that I was not necessarily the smartest coach around, but there's other things that sports affects the lives of young people, and it teaches them life lessons, I believe, things that they can carry through the rest of their life instead of just playing a basketball game or running a race, but it teaches them how they have to persevere, have to do the right thing at the right time, obey rules. All of it's just it's kind of a mirror of a person's life. You're gonna get knocked down. You're gonna have things happen to you that you can't help, and it's how you deal with those things that happen. I teach a lot since I early started teaching about priorities, and I've tried to emphasize that to all my teams, that God first, family, education, and then the sport. And if they'll keep that for the rest of their life, then we're winners. That's something they can use from now on.
In Class 3A, Stephanie Robinson, Fultondale High School.
She doesn't play favorites. She cares about every student, whether it's an athlete or a student who's on Science Olympiad team or a band member or a choir member. It doesn't matter. She cares about every kid on this campus. She came in and our graduation rate was horrendous. And under her leadership, since she's been here, our graduation rate has risen to 95% or better. That is fantastic. Helping kids seek out scholarships to go to college when they don't think they could go to college. Pushing kids to excel academically has been she's been a model administrator for that.
She's taught me many things, and the most important thing that I believe that she's taught me is to always strive to be the best in order to achieve my goals and be successful in life. When my parents were going through a tough time, I came into her office and she would tell me how everything was going to be okay, and she always gave me positive things to think about, and she was just always there for me, and she cared for me and what I could do to help my parents, and that's something she's always been there for me and helpful and caring.
Class, social standings, it makes no difference to her. Every single child, she's probably got the biggest heart for an administrator of a school and as a teacher of anybody that I've ever known. One very good example I can think of, going back to when she was a teacher, is she didn't lecture and she didn't just get up and state facts. For the example, when she would talk on the Supreme Court, rather than just state the facts out, well, she would have 9 people dressed up in black robes as justices. She would have people on the floor to present and to defend. And so she would engage the students, and she did that in every aspect.
She kept you going. She gives you a motivation that you need when you're doing bad in school. Her door is always open for encouragement, and that's what she does. She's really the heart of this organization. So it means a lot to me, her getting me to where I am today. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be there. So I'm glad she did it, and she really deserves it.
I'm a National Board Certified teacher, and part of that National Board process, or one of the components, is know your students. Know your students in the classroom, know what they care about, what concerns them, what their day-to-day is like. And I've just carried that philosophy on as their principal. I know my kids. I know them by name. I know who their families are. I live in the community. I see them at the restaurants. I see them at the grocery store. So know my kids, know what bothers them. When I see them walk down the hallway, I know if somebody's upset, or I know if something's happened. You just see that, and it's that personal touch and that caring about kids that I think has changed some stuff around here too.
In Class 4A, Tina Niven, Montevallo High School.
I think her ability and her willingness to help pretty much in all matters. There's very few things that you could call on her where she wouldn't be willing to help out. Here she coaches our volleyball team, she coaches our girls basketball team, and she also coaches her soccer team. And in addition to that, again, anything that we ask her to do, she's always willing to do that, and that's what makes her such an integral part here.
She has made a big impact on my life. I moved here in 10th grade. I wasn't going to play any sports, and she called me to her office and she talked to me. I still kept telling her no. Next thing you know, she asked me to come to the school, and I was there at practice. I didn't realize what I was doing. I ended up playing anyways, and I ended up loving it. I thought I would be a traitor switching schools. I didn't want to play, but she motivated me to play and love all my new teammates, and it made a big difference. Off the court, on the court, either way, like, I was angry. I was an angry girl, and she changed my whole attitude. Like, she helped me with my grades and everything.
My senior year as a player, it was in the off season. My mother was in a wreck, and I ended up taking care of my sister. And Coach Niven got the volleyball team to help us out. And that was just, it was very unexpected and the kindest thing that could happen at that point in time. I think she is the best person to win this award. She's very compassionate and very deserving. And she's an incredible coach, an incredible person.
You know, I don't know if I necessarily have a philosophy that I can just, that I totally live by. These kids, they're just like my kids. Because I went to high school here at Montevallo High School, I want these kids here at Montevallo High School to have the same experience that I had, and to be surrounded by the people that love them, like the people here that love me that I mentioned earlier. And so when I look at these students, you know, I want them to be successful. I want them to have fun here. I want them to feel loved. The other day, in fact yesterday, one of the kids passes by me going to football practice, and he says, "I love you, Coach Niven." And I said, "I love you too." And he turns around, he's like, "Really, you love me?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So I wouldn't say it if I didn't.
In Class 5A, Willie Moore, Dallas County High School in Plantersville.
He's coached many sports, so he's coached our female athletes as well as our male athletes. He served as athletic director. He is now the assistant principal, so he's worn many hats, so he's been able to influence a lot of students in a lot of different ways. And a lot of people don't get that opportunity because they kind of work in one capacity, and he's been able to work in many capacities here, so he affects a lot of our students and student athletes.
Well, he's always been such a great coach and a leader, and always taught us to be positive and be a student athlete, and really emphasize the student part. He's just always been so encouraging, whether you just go into his office and you just need to talk to him about a problem you're having or something. He's just been always there to listen and really open-minded.
What makes Coach Moore stand out from all the other coaches in the area is that Coach Moore puts emphasis on the person, not just the athlete. Coach Moore is all about building relationships with his students as well as his co-worker. You know, you can go at any time. If you need something from Coach Moore, he's there, and he's always there to listen. And because he does build nurturing relationships and brings you into his family, then you are more motivated to work hard and do your very best for Coach Moore.
He wants you to be, a better man in life. Make sure you be honest and, humble all the time. If you're too high on your horse, he'll bring you down until you get on the right level. And, it's gonna better you as you get older and show you more things and mature up. No better coach in the state of Alabama than me, He's my only one, but I see others, to go to different camps. Still nobody like Coach Moore.
I've always had the philosophy for the last 23 years, no one player is more important to me than my team. Don't ever think that you can't be replaced, because you can and you will. And that even goes for me, and I'm the coach. I just think that's, just being available, just being able to be one that they feel comfortable coming talking to you about whatever situation that may be. I feel like one of the strengths of mine is the fact that I'm open to all of our students. I try to make sure I stay highly involved and have a personal relationship with every student that we have here at this school. So it makes it easy for them to come to me with a problem, or just to say, "Hey, coach."
In Class 6A, Gary Hall, Carver High School in Montgomery.
There was an individual before we moved to school uniforms.
The young man came to school basically wearing the same clothing every day. And Mr. Hall identified that, you know, there was a need there. And after speaking to the young man, he learned that the young man's father was locked up, the mother was strung out on drugs, and that young man was actually working to try to keep his the lights on at the house, you know, the necessities. And Mr. Hall did point him in the direction of someone who could provide services for him. And just think, you know, if he did not open up that conversation and ask the young man what was going on, then it would have gone unnoticed. And those are the kind of things that that he does here at Carver High School.
He's made a difference, a really big difference here in our community here in the Carver area. Number one, as the principal/leader here at Carver High School, he looks out for the kids as well as the teachers, the staff, the janitorial staff, anybody that's working with Carver. He's concerned about their well-being. He's concerned about the students academically, physically, and especially about our athletic program here. And he reaches out to the community. Most times when we have I call it our Spirit Day through the Booster Club, he's right out here involved in whatever activities that are available. When he cleans out his closet, he has ideas of kids that he'll give these things to. There was a young man, I won't call his name, but he did clean out some things in his closet and he gave them to him, and the kid expressed that he was very appreciative of it, and he's been gone probably like 6 to 8 years, but I ran into him, and whenever we're together, he still talks about it, and he was very proud and very thankful for those items.
Children need to know that they're loved, that if there's no one at home that cares about them, this is their home away from home. They spend a lot of time with me here at the school. So in a sense, I'm their parent, you know, here. So I think that they need to be encouraged. They need to know that they're loved. They need to have some boundaries, and they need to know where their boundaries are. And as long as you do that, the students will come. They'll do what you ask them to do. If you have great expectations for them and you set those expectations high, and I do for my students, my coaches, the whole 9 yards. It doesn't just, for me, it's one of those things where, you know, people like to say wins and losses. You know, my coaches, I'm one of those taskmasters. I said, yeah, we won the state championship. How many did we put in college? How many remained in college? How many graduated? And some of my coaches look at me, well, but we won the state championship. It's not all about state, it's about that overall goal about these are student athletes.
In Class 7A, Kent Chambers, Bob Jones High School in Madison.
Coach Chambers still daily impacts my life. I'm very blessed that I'm a colleague of his now. I started out playing for him when I was 15. And one of the things that always stands out to me about Coach Chambers is, number one, he has built a family with his program. And I know that from being a player, but also from being a coach alongside him. After I graduated from college, I came and coached with him. And that is just the number one thing he does, is he creates a family. Everybody is very proud to be a Bob Jones Lady Patriot and to be a part of the team. I have friends that are lifetime friends from being a part of this program. And one of the biggest things that always stands out to me about Coach Chambers is he always spoke life into us. And what I mean by that is he never had to yell at us or say anything mean to us or point out to us, hey, you missed that ball. He just always had something encouraging to say, you got this, you can do it, let's try it again, let's go. Or even he would pose a question, something that would make you reflect on the play or what just happened. So that's something that I admire the most about him, is that he speaks life into his players.
I actually had a special tryout where it was just me and him. So my first impression was, I was super nervous. I remember this day perfectly. My dad was there. It was just us, and you know, he just hit me balls doing certain things, but he's very encouraging no matter what. He, even if you do like miss a ball, like he keeps your head up no matter what and keeps you always trying, and gives you good words of advice on what to do. And So, and then my stepmom had known him also and always told me good things about him. And I just remember I knew like as soon as I met him, like he was a super good person, so.
He has made a difference in so many different areas. He organizes our homecoming parade. He takes the girls on the softball team. He not only is interested in their softball skills, but he is interested in their lives. He recruits, he talks to colleges on their behalf. He'll take girls that, he's had girls on his team that maybe don't have the skill level that he needs, but he's asked them to be a manager or to be a player coach. He's done a lot of things out of the ordinary to help the girls exceed.
Well, students in high school are around their teachers and coaches sometimes more than they're around their own families, their own parents. And several of those students that we get may be from a one-parent household, and they may not have access to a male figure in their life at home. Many do, but some don't. So I think our job as coaches is not just to coach the sport. If we're there just to coach the sport and just to win a state championship, we're in it for the wrong reasons. We're here to help kids. And so if we can be role models to the kids and teach them the X's and O's of the game, obviously you want to win every game, but if we can teach them the morals and the values along the way, then we're just a supplement for what their parents are teaching them at home. So if we're around them more than their parents are, then they're getting it from both sides. And then again, sometimes they just don't have that male figure at home, but then again, some don't have a good female figure at home, and so you got a female coach. Coaches can be vital to the education of kids, not just in the classroom, but on the field. And when they're with coaches, we're with them in situations not just on the field. If we have tournaments or we go out of town on trips or at practice and so forth, just the camaraderie and getting to know the kids and having somebody they can talk to, because sometimes you can't talk to your dad or you can't talk to your mom, but you can talk to your coach and get advice and so forth. And I think that's what our role should be more than just teaching X's and O's.